one of the gold six here. Like, Cars, bruh. One of my favorite movies ever. I remember, I think it is my favorite Pixar movie, I remember I had a DVD, I used to stay at my granny's house when my mother was at work, bruh. And I watched that DVD, I don't know how many times, that shit was scratched, everything, bro. I wore that shit out, bruh. Like, I don't know how many times I watched Cars, but the original one, the first one. I keep saying the original, bruh, the first one. And also Owen Wilson, bruh. There's so many other movies. What other movies this has been in, bruh? He been chilling recently, That's why it intrigued me, this video, what happened to Owen Wilson. Because I haven't thought about him in a while, bruh. He was running shit back in the day, Zoolander. My Cars. Yeah, he hasn't been doing anything recently, bruh.
Owen Wilson became one of the biggest comedy actors of the 21st century, but his entire career was one big accident. Because if it weren't for a student film and a last-second casting decision, we never would have heard of him. Contrary to most stars, Owen never dreamed of being an actor. He never even acted as a child.
I didn't necessarily ever imagine. I didn't study acting.
He killed that shit in Loki too, bruh. That's serious. I think that's the most recent thing I've seen in him. He was in that, right? I'm sure he was in that. Yeah, Morbius. No, I thought I was tripping, because he looks so different. Look, you know what I'm saying? I was tripping for a moment. Yeah, boy.
Imagine, that was a possibility growing up in Texas, that you could work on movies.
In fact, his high school years got off to quite the rocky start when he got expelled.
I got kicked out for cheating in geometry. I was the only kid.
Ooh, motherfuckers actually kick you out of school for that, except for cheating, from high school. When was this?
Kid that was caught, that was kind of called in.
Just like that, the fun and games were over, and he would be sent off to the New Mexico
Oh, it was college.
Military Institute for the remainder of his high school days.
High school? They expelled him for cheating on a geometry test in high school. What school is so vital, bruh?
But it served him well, as he'd end up at the University of Texas, which is where he met Wes Anderson, and
He was casually just meeting Wes Anderson, boy.
his life would be changed forever.
We had a playwriting class together. Didn't talk to each other
There's a playwriting casually with Wes Anderson,
much
boy.
in that class. In fact, never spoke to each other even once. Didn't meet until the next semester. And I always thought, what is this? Who's this guy I think he is? This antisocial guy sitting in the corner. But I was doing the exact same thing.
Though the standoff dynamic between the two of them
Oh, that's like me and my brother. My brother makes my beats and shit. Starts at SNE and shit, boy. Hope that's me and him, but because we met in college, you know what I'm saying?
wouldn't last forever, because just 1 year later, they'd become roommates. And it seemed like Owen didn't learn his lesson at all when it came to cheating.
He had the better room. The idea was, okay, at the end of the first semester, we'll switch to make it fair. But he didn't want to switch, and I said, okay, well, what are we going to do? I have a paper. Do you want to write this paper for me? And it got an A.
But they were on the verge of something huge. Because being the roommate to an aspiring hungry director inadvertently pulled Owen into the world of writing and acting. And
that drive is gonna drive you know what I'm saying, bruh?
neither of them had any idea that the small project they were about to embark on was about to launch both of their careers. Because they began writing one of the most successful indie comedies of all time together. Though, funny enough, the movie was actually supposed to be a completely different
I keep forgetting what this will look like,
genre.
And originally, when we were writing it, we wanted to
Shout out to him, bro. What's Benjamin Vomastek?
do sort of like a Godfather type movie, like a Goodfellas, like a real gritty street movie. And then it just became clear as we looked at the pages that we didn't really have the background for that type of thing. So we decided to go in a comedic direction.
After a long
They needed me.
rewriting process, Wes and Owen secured enough money to turn Bottle Rocket into a short. Given the lack of money, Owen didn't just become a first-time writer, but a first-time actor as well. Apparently they did well enough, because the short got into Sundance. But more importantly, it caught the attention
Like, they just be letting anything into Sundance nowadays. I feel like back in the day it was actually like fire thing, like big thing. I feel like they'll just be putting that logo on anything nowadays, bruh.
Of James L. Brooks, one of Hollywood's most powerful producers.
Jim Brooks,
film.
yeah,
James L. Brooks.
right, giant producer.
Yeah, he saw.
Boy, I have to go look at it. This just reminded me, bruh. It's like it's been years, boy, since I watched this interview, or not interview, or like some, like Conan O'Brien remote. I didn't watch the shit with Ice Cube, I don't know how many times I watched this video, but it's still fun. It's so funny every time, boy. I need to accept. So Conan O'Brien is one of the only late night hosts that's actually fucking funny, boy. He's one of the funniest motherfuckers that I've watched, boy. I won't lie to you. Shout out to Conan,
And wanted to come to Dallas, wants to see where we're living and stuff. We're all living together, and we're living in like a real kind of dump of a place. I actually think that helped get the movie made as much as anything, because he sort of saw how we were living. He's like, Jesus, if I don't help these guys, who will?
Suddenly, what started as a small little friend film project was turning into a Hollywood film. Though at this point, Owen had thought his time as an actor was done for.
When Jim Brooks brought us out to Los Angeles, I always kind of expect,
that don't surprise me though, because you know what I'm saying, college for some motherfuckers, it's like when you're most creative, especially when you're doing some shit like filmmaking and or like when it's fashion, when it's around, that's what the degree is about. So you're gonna have so much of creativity and shit, even though sometimes it does get set because you are doing college, etc. So it doesn't feel creative sometimes, boy. You know what I'm saying? I know, but yeah, bruh, it makes sense, because when you're in college, it's not like you're trying to make money. That's not in the equation at all for like projects and shit. So it's just gonna be passion projects. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be fire.
they'll probably want to cast some real actors.
But to Brooks' credit, he allowed Owen and his brothers to remain the stars of the film. It was Owen's first taste of this new lifestyle, but at first he wasn't taken seriously at all.
I'd started to tell people, like, well, what are you doing out here? And I'd say, we're making a movie. Mm-hmm. And then they'd be like, well, who's in it? And I go, I'm in it, and my brother's in it, and my other brother's in it. And they're like, kind of, their eyes start to kind of glaze over, and they're like, who directs it? And I go, my friend, Wes, directs it.
And a couple of years later, the movie was finally completed, but it was initially viewed as a disaster, and the status of the film was in jeopardy.
Because that one, was really kind of a, tortured post-production process of not test screening well, and it seemed like it might not even come out.
Sundance, the film festival that started all the momentum for the short film, even ended up turning them down when they resubmitted as a feature. So they made adjustments.
The Phoenician scheme appoints his new film. Doesn't he have a movie coming out, bro? This should look I think I remember seeing a trailer for this, and seeing like the shots are crazy. So obviously Wes Anderson, that's what he shots are crazy, boy. You know what I'm saying? But wasn't there another one? It was with the sticky Sassy Beats movies coming out. They will kill you. Who's directing this? Because I remember watching the trailer for this, and this shit look fire, bruh. The cinematography on this, Kirill Sukulov. Like the shots in this movie, boy, definitely inspired, boy. You know what I'm saying?
And tested the movie again, but the test screening went about as poorly as it could have.
Ever did Bottle Rocket, we had a test screening process.
Oh, Bottle Rocket was
Thank
fun.
you.
That was a great movie.
But we had like half the audience walk
Jackie
out
Chan, boy.
of the test screening.
Which was something so traumatizing that Owen said to this day he still won't watch his movies with audiences. I've personally had several people walk out of movies that I directed, and it's an incredibly shitty feeling, so I can definitely empathize with
Damn, that's crazy,
them.
boy.
They just couldn't catch a break, because when it came time to release the movie theatrically, it was a massive flop. not even grossing $1 million. Though the movie would eventually gain in popularity, attaining cult classic status, and even making it on Martin Scorsese's top 10 movies of the 90s. It's not my personal favorite, but it's an incredibly impressive film when you know the backstory that went into this. Despite all the headaches and the commercial failure, Owen looks back with fond memories.
I don't know. Low-key, boy, I would rather get, like, rather have a cult classic than a movie that does big numbers, but people gonna forget about it in a year, boy. Like, imagine, like a Minions movie, except I'd rather have, like, a flop that becomes a cult classic than some Minions movie that makes a $1 billion. You know what I'm saying?
Bottle Rocket, because that just changed my life, and all of a sudden I was not a college dropout living in Dallas. I was an actor and a writer living in Hollywood, and so that changed my life.
And boy, did his reality change. Because even though Owen didn't view himself as an actor, he was about to learn that Hollywood disagreed. Because the same year Bottle Rocket came out, he got to act in The Cable Guy alongside Jim Carrey, Matthew Broderick,
So like a crackhead Viltrumite, boy.
Leslie Mann, Jack Black, Ben Stiller, and it was even produced by Judd Apatow. For someone who had been living in a cluttered apartment and never thought he'd be in the industry a year prior, this was a gigantic leap. But the craziest thing about Cable Guy for Owen is that he was almost never in this movie.
You were knocked out by his audition, no doubt.
Not particularly. I knew he was funny, and he had a certain something going on, but I wasn't totally convinced. I think you hadn't really done anything.
No, I hadn't done a lot of auditions, so I was like nervous and everything.
Thankfully for his sake, Judd Apatow was able to convince him.
What the fuck is going on in this movie, except what's happening here? What is this freeze frame, except?
Ben to cast him, and it really makes you wonder, what...
Oh, check out this video fire, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Pootie came to South Africa, boy. He went to that fucking fuck around here, boy. That white only town. Fuck that shit. But he went into Joburg, but mostly. It's a fire video, boy. He was in the city in Joburg, except.
Of Owen Wilson had he not landed this role and become acquainted with both Ben and Judd, because he'd become one of Ben's close.
What the? Oh, he has his leg on the wall, bruh. Now that's why you blurred that, except.
Closest collaborators down the road, and he'd even reunite with Apatow later on. His momentum wouldn't slow at all, as he'd act in the cult classic Anaconda the following year, then team up with James L. Brooks again to work as an associate producer on As Good as It Gets. But the year after would be his biggest yet. It started with the sci-fi film Armageddon, which to this day he views as being his most difficult role.
Armageddon, there was a lot of stuff of us being in the spacesuits and being on the asteroid, and they were not that comfortable. That was just a long, long shoot.
Then he'd team up with Ben Stiller again for the drama Permanent Midnight, which was a fine movie, but nothing I plan to rewatch. The depiction of heroin addiction.
No, in music you get like duos, bruh, like Metro and 21. Looky there, the same shit be happening in fucking Hollywood with movies and shit. Motherfuckers have like duos and shit, you know what I'm saying? And we got Kevin Hart and Ice Cube, we got The Rock and Kevin Hart. Or more The Rock and Kevin Hart than Kevin Hart and Ice Cube, and then these motherfuckers, and then some Adam Sandler and everyone around him, boy.
Just
Grown Ups 3 is coming out, boy. I'm ready for that thing, boy.
Made me squirm. And he rounded it all off by reuniting with his old roommate to co-write the comedy Rushmore.
I don't know what you see in her. I don't think she's right for you.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, she's...
At this point, his career was really all over the place. He was acting one moment, writing the next, and then producing. The genres he was acting in were everywhere too, and it'd be a couple of years before he really became a big comedy star, because the following year, he'd co-star in the horror movie The Haunting, which, I'll admit, I really dreaded having to watch this movie. When I make these videos, I always
in the motherfucker racist as shit, boy.
Watch all the movies the actor starred in, and when I saw Owen Wilson star in a 2-hour film that got destroyed by both critics and audiences, I wasn't thrilled to say the least. But this movie was actually okay. It definitely loses momentum in the second half, but the movie wasn't the waste of time I thought it'd be. It's a really interesting concept too. If you aren't familiar, it's a remake of the 1963 film about a doctor who tricks insomniac patients into participating in a study about psychological fear in an isolated mansion. Then things go south when the study commences. I thought Owen gave a solid performance, and it also dawned upon me when watching this that it's the main movie spoofed in Scary Movie 2.
Woo, that's heavy. I better use my strong hand. Look, you got the panties.
He also did Breakfast of Champions and The Minus Man to round out 1999. His accidental acting career up to this point was already more successful than most actors could ever dream of. But the turn of the century would be quite the turn for Owen's career. It started by acting alongside a childhood icon in Shanghai Noon.
It was incredible working with Jackie because I remember as a little kid growing up in Texas seeing Cannonball Run, so he's been around doing movies forever.
Yo, I wonder what Jackie Chan feels like waking up every morning, boy. The amount of shit his body's been through. Like, I wonder what, like, damn, boy, shout to Jackie, boy, you're goat, boy. He literally threw his body on the line for his craft, etc.
And it was interesting watching his kind of karate movies are very different from kind of the violent type of karate movies that you'd maybe think of. They're more sort of Fred Astaire type, kind of funny.
Being completely honest, Westerns are probably my least favorite genre, so I never really got into this one, but it seemed to be well made for what it was. This was when Owen really started to feel like he had made it.
So maybe the first movie that I lived through, Shanghai Noon, I was like, okay, I'm going to treat myself to something, and I got Porsche. The guy's kind of showing me the car, and he's like, you're not going to get sand kicked in your face with this car. I was kind of insulted because I was like, I'm not getting sand kicked in my face now. And then when I got it, then like all the salesmen came out and started cheering for me, like, you did it, Owen!
And the good vibes would only continue, because immediately afterwards, he'd act in the classic Meet the Parents, a role he landed thanks to the relationships he had been building.
Kind of, it was lucky that I got cast.
Networking, boy, networking around the world, etc.
Ben had suggested to the director, Jay Roach, that maybe I would be good, and I think, you know, working with De Niro, I was really nervous.
Just another moment to look back and wonder what would have come of his career had Ben decided not to cast him in The Cable Guy. Because it went from...
Yo, what happened in this bathroom, etc.? I feel like all the clips I've seen, this bathroom scene seemed like so fucking long, etc. So much of shit happened,
not wanting to work with him, to it feeling like they were now doing a movie every year. Which is funny, because the next year they'd actually do 2 movies. The first of which was Zoolander.
I remember there were some male models working on Zoolander as extras and things and little scenes, and then a couple weeks into the shoot, one of them felt, I think they're poking fun at male models, and there's a bit of a mutiny with some of the male model extras.
I revisited Zoolander when preparing for the Ben Stiller video, and this one really surprised me. I remembered liking it, but it had a way better all-around plot than I remembered, and was also super funny.
You think you're too cool for school. But I got a news flash for you, Walter Cronkite. You aren't.
What you got his lips like that, bro?
You're trying to get crazy with us, eh?
The second Ben and Owen movie in 2001 was The Royal Tenenbaums, which was yet another collaboration between Owen and Wes Anderson. Wes's movies have never been my thing. Don't get me wrong, I respect the hell out of him. They're just stylistically different from what I trend towards. But The Royal Tenenbaums is without a doubt my favorite of his filmography. And speaking of all the great actors Owen had gotten to work with, he got to check off Bill Murray and Gene Hackman with this one as well. Owen would star in the action movie Behind Enemy Lines, and even made an appearance on King of the Hill. He was quickly trending towards becoming an A-lister. The following year, he'd co-star with yet another legend, this time Eddie Murphy and
Eddie Murphy, boy, one of the goats as well, what?
I Spy. But the year after was arguably the most important year of his career, because he met David Dobkin on the movie Shanghai Nights, which set the stage for their blockbuster Wedding Crashers collaboration. But before they did Wedding Crashers, he had to do a whopping 5 movies in 2004, a career record for him. I don't really have any strong opinions on most of these movies, aside from Starsky and Hutch.
That I became a fan, but I had like the Starsky and Hutch lunchbox and the little Hot Wheel Gran Torino and stuff.
Damn, did he get his, like... I never noticed that about his nose before, Did he get that shit fucking broken or some shit, bruh? What the fuck?
It's a personal favorite of mine that no one ever really seems to talk about. And who else could he have starred alongside but Ben Stiller?
It's 10 o'clock. You're late. I've been here since 8. 8 o'clock? I didn't know this place opened today. Well, don't sweat it.
I mean, this is like the fourth movie I've seen of them together, bruh.
Because you know what? Crime called in sick. It's gonna get a late start, too. Are you crying? What's that? Are you crying? Am I crying? No, I'm not crying. You're crying.
But this really seemed to be the point at which Owen solidified himself as a comedy juggernaut. Something that's quite ironic.
It's funny that I've ended up doing so many comedies because, you know, when you go to video
Ironic
store,
was a nice
rent
man,
movies,
was a
I
ice
wouldn't
man.
really rent comedies that much. I don't have any, you know, background in stand-up or anything.
But it was now time for Wedding Crashers. Owen would team up with my favorite comedy actor of all time, Vince Vaughn, and they'd make one of the greatest comedies of all time. And it all came together thanks to the aforementioned
Favorite of all
Shanghai
time.
Nights.
Vince in my first movie and Owen in my second movie. I invited
What is
Vince
that
to
motherfucker
the
doing,
Shanghai
boy?
Nights premiere. He was talking to me, and in the background I saw Owen talking to his mother.
Those
And I looked
boys,
at them,
the
and I had
intention.
them both like stacked up, and I had an Abbott and
Greatest
Costello
of
wedding
all
in my head.
time.
And I'm just like, oh wow, look, he talks really fast and he talks slow, and he's kind of, you know, it
The
just kind of hit me
Inkman,
there. And I
boy.
went
Ah,
to my
you got some
agent that night and
bangers
I
in
said,
ya.
I'd like to find something with Vince and Owen. Literally 8 weeks later, he called me up and he said, I think I just read the right thing.
The movie was
Dodgeball.
quite the strenuous process for Owen.
Yeah, there was like ad-libbing, but a lot of it was like, and this is why I've probably never been more tired than when I finished this movie, is a lot of it was like we would meet on weekends and the night before and go over the scenes for that week or the next day.
But it turned out absolutely beautifully. I've said it before, but in terms of movies that prioritize humor first, story second, Wedding Crashers takes the cake for me.
And let's have an emerging maple syrup conglomerate.
Hey, that's stupid. We don't know anything about maple syrup.
I happen to know everything there is to know about maple syrup. I love maple syrup. I love it on pizza. I like to take maple syrup and put a little bit in my hair when I've had a rough week. What do you think holds it up, Slick?
Mrs. Clear, I don't...
Call me Cat.
Okay, Cat.
Call me Kitty Cat.
Okay, kitty cat.
And more importantly for his career, Wedding Crashers killed it at the box office, becoming the first R-rated comedy ever to cross $200 million domestically. So it's no surprise that just 1 year later, Owen would land the lead role
Classic
in the
boy.
blockbuster Cars and cement himself as
What
one of
a
the biggest
fucking
names in
movie.
Hollywood. He'd also team up with Ben Stiller for the millionth time.
Oh yeah, he was in this, bruh. He was in this. I think this is my favorite one of them too, boy.
Night at the Museum, and also star in and produce You, Me, and Dupree. Much like The Haunting, I really wasn't looking forward to this one, but it was actually really entertaining.
Make yourself at home, and Molly and I are, well, we're going to go
Molly,
upstairs and take care of
represent.
some stuff.
God,
Hey.
represent.
Listen, we're all adults.
They're gonna fuck. They're gonna fuck while you downstairs,
Here.
you say.
You're newlyweds. Making love's a big part of that. You're supposed to explore each other. The situation's gonna work.
Bro, you don't have to. See, we were thinking it. We were all thinking it, but you don't need to do all of this, boy. You don't need to do. It's not a fucking speech. There's no need for
We
it.
gotta be honest with each other. Now go on, enjoy yourselves. Pump away.
I think I only laughed twice at this movie, and I wouldn't call it a classic by any means, but it's way better than the critics will lead you to believe, and
What's that?
definitely one that if you love these 2000 style comedies, you won't be disappointed. He was landing lead roles left and right, following it up with another Wes Anderson movie, teaming up with Judd Apatow again for Drillbit Taylor, and then finishing it off with Marley and Me. To the outside, things appeared to be going incredibly well for him. In fact, he even got the opportunity to star in another one of the biggest comedies of the century in Tropic Thunder. But that came to a halt when tragedy struck. Because in August of 2007, Owen attempted to take his own life. While
Huh? I don't even know this. Say what?
it's an incredibly devastating development, he was at least fortunate to have family to lean on. and has really great perspective on life after the fact.
Sort of look back at sort of bad things that happen where you're like, yeah, without that bad thing, then I don't get to this good thing. And so that idea of rock bottom, again, just reminds me, times in my life when I've had struggles, how much I needed other people, family, friends.
Matthew McConaughey would ultimately replace...
Why were they on a golf course? I mean... Damn, bro, I actually didn't know that shit, bro. Damn, boy.
Owen in the film, and after Owen got his life back on track, Hollywood was still waiting for him. His epic run continued with several sequels to prior hits. He also teamed up with the Farrelly brothers for Hall Pass, which this is going to be an incredibly unpopular opinion, but this is my favorite of the Farrelly brothers movies.
What the hell is he doing?
He's got back
spasms. Not him.
What's he doing, your boy?
Him.
You're a long way from Richmond, except.
Gary! What are you doing?
I'm talking to the guy who cleans my office.
He also one-upped that by starring in Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris, which I thought was just brilliant.
Can I ask you the biggest favor in the world? Would you read it?
Your novel?
Yeah, it's like 400 pages long, and I'm just looking just for, just an opinion.
My opinion is I hate it.
I mean, you haven't even read it.
If you're not familiar, Owen plays a character that's on vacation in Paris, and every time the clock strikes midnight, he goes back in time and meets the likes of F. Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, and Salvador Dali. Something that I just loved so much.
Oh, that's crazy concept, though. I don't know who the fuck any of those people were, but was like some different shit, the same type of concept, but with some different plot line. But the same concept with the striking midnight and going back in time, that shit would be crazy, boy.
About this movie is that I really never knew where it was headed, and it kept me on the edge of my seat throughout. I thought Owen gave a pretty strong performance, but Quentin Tarantino has been quite outspoken with his opposite opinion.
I really can't stand Owen Wilson. I mean, I can't stand him. Mm-hmm. And I spent the first time watching the movie loving it and hating him. The second time...
Damn, what he do, except? He made the whole movie with him. You couldn't have told him before you fucking made the whole fucking movie.
I watched the movie, I was like, okay. Alright, he's not so bad. And then the third time I watched it, I found myself watching him.
He also got to co-star in Jack Nicholson's final...
That nigga bipolar, except. He got that Kanye shit.
Movie, how do you know?
Let me ask you something. How do you know when you're in love?
I gotta wait. Whenever this one thing happens, I know I'm gone. I tell you, but it's personal. I don't want anyone making fun of me for it.
No one's... Go!
I figure I'm in love with somebody when I wear a condom with the other girls, okay?
Holy shit, I'm in love.
Why not? The guy got to act alongside pretty much every other legend. It was also a bit of a homecoming for Owen because it was directed by James L. Brooks, the guy who jump-started his career.
It's like, I think because he played such a big role in our lives and kind of helping us at like Luke and Wes, and we always kind of think of him still kind of as just really look up to him.
He also did a movie with Steve Martin titled The Big Year. You might have never heard of it because it's one of the biggest box office flops I've ever seen.
God damn.
Bringing in roughly $7 million on a $41 million budget.
I mean, that ain't too bad compared to some of these other movies that's been coming out recently, etc.
And that's the funny thing about this stretch. A lot of the movies he starred in flopped pretty hard, yet he kept getting cast in lead roles. And that's just not something virtually any other actor can say.
Because he got that networking, boy. It's how the world works. So you can't do nothing about it. He got the connections, bruh.
Things really carried on like this for the next 5 years. There are a few that I'd like to hone in on. For starters, The Internship. While it wasn't as good as Wedding Crashers, I'll never pass up the opportunity to...
I fucked with this. I won't lie. I fucked with this movie. It's a cool little movie. Fun movie, bruh.
Watch a movie that Owen and Vince did together.
You gotta meet my friend Nicky. You'll love him. Nicky, Nickelodeon, come over here. Come meet this guy, Graham. He's in the internship program with me and you.
Your interns?
Yes.
Shut up. You're so old, though.
Oh, excuse me?
Oh my god, I feel terrible. I feel so stupid.
don't be
I feel
excited.
terrible. I feel
No,
terrible.
for what?
I just, I thought you were important.
What do you bring me over to introduce?
You remember when I watched this movie as a child? I hated that motherfucker. I want to say the fucking slap the fuck out of him, boy. Like, give him a nice fucking global, boy.
Introduce me to this guy. It's like he was your best friend. You introduced me to Hitler.
If you've never seen the unrated version, give it a watch. The movie was clearly intended to be rated R, but the studio decided to release a PG-13 version, making a much worse movie and undoubtedly contributing to its less than stellar box office performance. Then there was Inherent Vice. This time, Owen got to work with Paul Thomas Anderson.
Why? Because it would be my ass and my family's too. It's like a gang. It's like once you're in for life.
I found this movie to be incredibly frustrating. It just wasn't for me. But on top of that, I only watched it because Owen got top billing and was listed as one of the leads. Yet, he was only...
That is the craziest Wolverine beard I've ever seen in my life. If you're not Wolverine, you should not be having this thing on, boy. If you're not Sheamus from fucking WWE, you should not be having this shit on, boy.
For about 5 minutes, and the movie is 2.5 hours.
You should actually look like a fucking midlife divorced Wolverine.
Hours long. They clearly tried to use his name to sell the movie, but even that didn't work out. Then there was Cars 3.
My stream disconnected. What happened? See, this that shit. So they reconnected,
Which provided a completely new perspective for Owen and his career.
I mean, I remember really sweating it early on. Oh no, how is it gonna be received? And
Cars 3 brought back the old trilogy, etc. You know what I'm saying? After Cars 2, if you're going into it with a mind on I'ma watch this for just world building and shit, I'm not gonna care about the storyline and shit. It's a fire movie. You know what I'm saying? It's an enjoyable movie, bruh. But Cars 3 literally came back with that fucking Cars original energy, boy. You know what I'm saying? Banger.
the stakes seemed so high at that point. Were we even going to get to sort of continue to make movies? And now, having done it for a long time, and it doesn't feel that same sense of anxieties.
And then lastly, there was a little-known movie called Father Figures, which was directed by the Hangover cinematographer, and was another one of those movies that was just nowhere near as bad as the reviews say. Out of all the movies he's done, working with Ed Helms on this was one of his favorite memories.
We just had a great time working together. It's funny, kind of when you show up to work, some days you kind of look forward to it more than others. But when I was working with Ed, I knew, when I showed up, it was going to be fun just kind of talking. Sometimes it can be kind of awkward when you're kind of left sort of sitting, in a car doing a scene when they're not rolling. But with Ed,
how the fuck do streamers make it so... this shit, because I see they should be disconnecting, but their stream stays up. It doesn't make a new one. What the fuck they do that, bruh? I need that shit because my shit be cutting out so much, bruh. That's a whole different thing. That's ass.
Ed and I don't know, we just really got along.
But this was really the end of the golden years for Owen, because it was a whopping 4 years between Father Figures and his next movie, Bliss. He really hasn't done any notable movies since then. A big reason is because comedy stopped going to theaters around this time. By the way, if you'd like to see my directorial debut, which is a 2000 style inspired comedy, you can check it out for free on Tubi. Another reason why Owen disappeared from movies, though, is because he got locked into the MCU with the TV show Loki. Side note, I don't.
Did this motherfucker just say Loki instead of Loki, etc.? Be so real, boy. I won't lie, you can't be running a movie channel and doing that, etc. Come on, boy.
Know if it's pronounced Loki or Loki. I kind of stopped watching Marvel movies 6 years ago.
nigga Loki was in the first Avengers movie, say. What are you talking about, bruh? This will just piss me off, boy. That's disrespectful, say. You know what I'm saying? I grew up on the MCU, boy. I'm saying I'm personally offended, bruh.
And I guess it's a TV show. Never watched any of those. He's currently doing a TV show called Stick for Apple, but I'll be honest, I haven't seen it.
And in a Rolling Loud movie, bruh.
And can't comment on it. Though I do love to golf, so it might actually be a good option for me. He's also co-starring in
that's
the
why they
Ford
was at the
Meet Parents
golf
movie,
course.
which comes to theaters this Thanksgiving. And with studios finally starting to bring comedies back to theaters, and ongoing talks of a Wedding Crashers sequel, who knows? Maybe we'll be seeing a lot more of Owen Wilson on the big screen. Regardless, it's pretty safe to say that no one could have ever predicted that a student film would have led to all of this. The guy completely dominated 2000s comedies. I really would have loved to have seen what he would have looked like had he actually been in Tropic Thunder. The same can be said for several of the roles, though, because nearly every major role in that film was originally supposed to be played by someone else. And when they did make it, it became one of the biggest studio risks of the 21st century, leading to one of the most incredible stories of any movie I've ever followed. And I take you through
The ultimate risk, I need to watch that video online, so you're trying to be done. It's like a fever dream. Just that image, this image alone, bruh. Robert is the only one to get away with this shit, boy. What the fuck? Hey, boy. Yeah. Shout out to Benjamin Vomerset, boy. 5 videos here online.